if you're trying to find your passion, here is the secret. What are you constantly self-educating about? Where do you find yourself on the internet, late at night, not in the way we're thinking, but where do you find yourself late at night on the internet when nobody's around? What are you reading for hours at a time? For me, in high school, I loved, there was this blog called Cracked, which I guess is still around, but the team has changed. And they were always writing about pop culture and Star Wars and making jokes and all that stuff. And I liked that. Entertainment content. I also used to watch a lot of Food Network presenters and that sort of entertainment content. And then at the same time, I would follow these business celebrities. So for instance, I loved the show Shark Tank. I would watch Shark Tank. I loved Mark Cuban. I would know the stories of all of these business celebrities when I was growing up. Howard Hughes and all these guys. Even when there was a cartoon, like Scrooge McDuck. I liked the duck guy, Scrooge, more than I was following, Huey, Dewey, and Louie, for instance. So, how do you find your passion? Think about what the problems are that you are obsessed with. What are the things that you are reading? I know for me now, I go from obsession to obsession. Most of the time, my phone is open to Twitter, which gives me perfect insight into what the smartest people in the world are talking about. If everyone's talking about crypto, all of a sudden, within a couple weeks, I'm probably going to be talking about crypto. If everyone's talking about a certain stock, in a few weeks, I'm going to be talking about that. If everyone's talking about AI, I might be interested in that as well. So what you should do, if you find yourself passionless, if you find yourself with no joy in your life, is start tapping in to these social networks. Start leaning into the things that you love to do, that you love to research. And you might also be thinking, well, first of all, the first thing I said, right? What are you doing late at night? Well, a lot of us are watching porn, are looking at pornography, right? What are you doing when no one else is around? Well, a lot of us are playing video games. We're playing RuneScape to get the nostalgia hit. We're playing World of Warcraft, or we're playing Call of Duty, right? So it also starts with cutting all of that stuff out. I don't look at pornography. I don't play video games. And so I have to get my dopamine through the more boring tasks. I have to get my dopamine from the likes I get on Twitter. Or I have to get my dopamine from the sales notifications inside of our Slack dashboard. Or I have to get my pleasure and my dopamine by learning new things on the internet. So if you find yourself directionless in life, just know that a lot of it could be due to the cheap pleasures that you allow yourself, the sugars and the alcohols and the pornography and all of that stuff. And when I talk about this, I'm just going to think from the point of view of somebody, of me, maybe even like 7-8 months ago before this unlocked, right? All of these things hypnotize you into thinking that you need them. So for instance, when I was there playing World of Warcraft recently as an escape, I was feeling that dopamine rush of the leveling, and I was convinced that I was still productive. Because I would play World of Warcraft for 5 hours and I would work for 2 hours. But it's only when you get out of it that you understand how trapped you really are. Because now, instead of playing for 4 hours and working for 2 hours, I work for 8 hours. I never unplug, and I get the same amount of joy, or even more joy than I did from World of Warcraft. It's the same for pornography. With porn, we commit 5 minutes a night. I don't know how long it takes you to finish, right? 10 minutes a night, whatever it is. But what you sacrifice there is, your long-term sex drive, your want to have a relationship with another human being. You start sexualizing everything that you see. It's not good. It's really not good long-term, but you don't realize it when you are in it. So, if you're having trouble finding direction in life, if you're feeling like everything's boring, if you're feeling like there's no pleasure to be had except for this cheap pleasure, sugar, pornography, alcohol, all this stuff, then I implore you, I'm asking you to quit it for a week. You know, I did this thing. This is where all this started. Maybe 6 months ago, I was in Sheffield, the UK, hanging out with my co-founder, Robert. And I found myself locking myself in my room, in my apartment, and not really engaging with him, not going out on the town, ordering food in and just eating like cookies and pizza and like just playing video games. And I had a big beard and my hair was getting long. I thought, in the moment, I thought it was totally okay. But then I looked at the revenue that we were generating. You know, email 10K revenue was sliding down. The SaaSes, the softwares weren't really being launched at the rate that I wanted them to be launched. And everything was just going slow. And it was only by removing that easy dopamine, removing the fast food, removing the sugar, removing all that stuff, that I was finally able to wake up after it took me about 12 weeks to get back on track. But I stacked this whole thing up, and I held myself accountable on Twitter. It was like, you know, week 1, no porn. Week 2, drink more water. Week 3, work out 3 times a week. Week 4, just eat healthy is number 4. And there was a bunch of stuff like that in a list. And from there, I was able to start stacking these good habits, because that is where true passion actually comes from. You know, the mind, the brain, is an operating system. Similar to how your MacBook runs Mac OS, your brain runs Brain OS. And the problem with taking in, you know, all these chemicals and all these things that society says are good for you or that are fine, the problem with that is it puts you in a mental prison, in a way. It takes away the joy, the little joy, the boredom that actually causes you to succeed. And look at me now. You know, my beard is shaved. This is how I used to look. This is how I look now. Totally different. My shirt is blue now. How? Why? Because I have the self-awareness now. Because I'm not getting all my pleasure from this, you know, this synthetic BS. That's it. So, my homework assignment for you is, 1, if you're trying to find your passion, go look at the stuff that you lean into when nobody else is around. What are the things that you're thinking about? Is it, you know, Food Network? For me, it was Food Network, but I realized that I didn't want to be a chef because it requires a lot of training and all that stuff, and I don't really like that idea. What I liked more was the hype man thing, the presenter thing. I liked being able to present something, and I would say in a lot of ways, this channel is kind of like a Food Network show without the food. You know, the way we do the cold email teardowns is kind of like the recipe videos. And the way that we talk is just, you know, presentation style, vlogger style like that. So I get that same pleasure in a lot of ways. Plus, we do actually have a food channel. Every Burger in Vegas. I don't know if you know that. So if you don't have a passion yet, think about that. And if you think about that and you still find no joy in your life, then I would highly recommend cutting everything that we just talked about, possibly, you know, taking a shower, getting some better clothes, cleaning your clothes, shaving your beard, and you know, trying to get your life back on track. Because even if you look in the mirror and you seem like you're okay, you know, compare some photos to your young self. Compare some photos to the last time you actually felt joy and you felt happiness, and I will guarantee you look completely different now than you did back then. So try to reconnect with yourself when you had that joy, and you're going to be a lot better for it. Thanks for watching the video. Be sure to smash that like button to encourage this type of content on YouTube. Subscribe for more videos like this, and I'll talk to you soon. Thanks for watching. I'm Alex Berman.